You didn't record all that?
No.
Why not?
Because why would I?
What do you mean? You don't want to hear me? Well, I have to do it again.
We can't use any of it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I feel like it's 20% different from the Nicki Minaj singing it.
I think that it's not.
I'm a monster, automobile gangster.
Hello, everyone.
You could be the king, but watch the queen conquer. Nicki Minaj is going to be in our campaign.
She's a new NPC.
Yeah, she's a new NPC. It's the whole thing is the same except Nicki Minaj. And every once in a while, Finger goes, "What do you think, Nicki Minaj?" And then she says something. I can't think of anything funny.
Let's go to the beach.
Yeah. You know what? That sounds like a great idea. Aren't you guys glad Nicki's here? And Yezi's so jealous. She said, but she's like a high elf, and she just talks in the what's the name? This is so bad that I don't know all of Nicki Minaj's alter egos. The British lady one, where she's like, "They'll put you in a jail cell." That one, you know what I'm talking about?
No.
She talks in that one.
I'm not a big Nicki Minaj stan.
The other one, the crazy one, is Roman.
Okay.
What the heck is the name of the freaking British one?
Does she still do them?
No.
Oh, okay.
She was like, "This is kind of weird."
Yeah, it is.
I'm gonna just, you guys, this is for us. Know the song "Chun-Li" by Nicki Minaj, and it has that like,
What?
it's got a in it. I got a friend who's really good at audio engineering, and I asked him to make a copy of that with that sound boosted. And no other changes to the song, so it's just like, she's like, "Oh," and then you just hear, "Wow," really loud. Also in that song, she says, "Bad guy," like that. And
Bad guy.
Yeah, I think it's funny. She's like, "Get on their keyboards and make me the bad guy." And I wanted to make an edit. We'll start in a minute. I wanted to make an edit of that Billie Eilish song, "Bad Guy."
Yeah.
She's just like, "I'm the bad guy," but I never did because I don't know how to do that.
Well,
You know, there's always time.
there is. You could forever, until you die, you could do that.
We're gonna pivot to music.
This is gonna stop being a D&D podcast, and we're just gonna do music remixes.
Yeah, we're gonna do live though. Like we're gonna remix it live for you.
But only with our mouth. Look.
What? No, we're gonna armpit fart the remixes to music. How else do you do that?
You remix it like through
you mean like
audio
electronic
software, you idiot.
I thought an audio software. I thought you meant, you were gonna like interpretively dance the remix of which I speak. I'm the bad guy.
Anyways,
Yeah.
welcome back to Nat 2, where it's just the two of us.
Naturally. In the last episode,
We did it yesterday.
we did it yesterday, so fresh on our minds.
Yeah.
What happened exactly?
I met a lovely lady who...
Mysterious lady.
We don't know who she is at all.
Unknown identity.
Yeah,
kind
doesn't
of.
have any,
Meredith is her name.
adopted sons who may be thieves.
Hey, listen. They didn't necessarily pick up on that,
Okay, if you didn't pick up on that. I picked up on it on the moment.
Hey, skip to insert timestamp here. If you don't want to get spoiled, because I think I did a great job.
Okay.
Bearing the lead isn't what hiding it. So, apparently not. Apparently you found out in the first 2 seconds.
Look, the moment that she cocked her head to seek out the sundial, I was like, oh, Finger's mom. Fully not, it couldn't be anyone else.
I thought I did a great job.
Dude, she was amazing.
Oh, well, thank you.
She was amazing, but it wasn't unconspicuous that she was Finger's mom.
It wasn't unconspicuous. It wasn't conspicuous.
I don't care. Anyways. Also, freaking all the kids in the house. Like, yeah, we know he has a big family and all that.
Yeah.
And
Lots
also,
of people have big families, okay?
Big adoptive families.
Yeah.
All right.
Lots of
and
folks.
then also freaking Daniel. Oh, did that break my heart?
I find it kind of funny. And
Broke my friggin' heart, dude.
Good, me
But
too.
Daniel, when friggin' Etheod was like, Daniel's such a stupid name. He's like, my mom's son is named Daniel.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because I said that because I was like, why would Fingers know the name Daniel? And I was like, oh, unless he knew someone named Daniel, someone in his family. And then I was like, I said that, and then I was like, well, that's gonna become significant, relatively.
Yep.
Yeah, I was told Shay though yesterday after we stopped that when I was maybe this is evident in the recording, I don't know, but when I started describing the cubby with the I fully started crying. Like I started like, you know, when you can feel your nose get all hot and you're like, ooh, yeah.
Look, I felt like real shame and guilt about making Everson be like, in the war, you know, I did all this stuff, and then like the kids start crying, and I was just like, kid probably knew somebody in the war, and then seeing that, I was like, okay, all right. A lot of people knew this guy in the war. Oh no.
Whoopsie daisies. So that happened.
Yeah, you met Everson. Everson Balmery.
Yep.
Is her full name.
And then she died.
Yeah.
Shortly thereafter.
I was rolling like fucking crap.
You were, but I also expected you to heal yourself more. And then you didn't. Not to say, look, you can do whatever you want. I wanted to kill him. Also, I think I also did this. You for sure did this. Well, let me rephrase. I for sure did this. You also did it. If for some reason we get stuck talking in Southern accents,
I know.
If Everson's in a scene, we are adjacent to the South.
Yeah.
And there are many folks around us who have Southern drawl. But like, you know, when you're like, okay guys, Nat 2, and then all of a sudden someone around you starts talking like this, and you're like, well, I
gotta keep talking.
I gotta bring out my jug and my banjo with one string.
Yeah, it was really hard. Even after we stopped recording, I was like, okay, stop. Oh my god.
Yeah, I could hear me also doing it.
Yeah.
But I feel like also I was just doing it because you were doing it, and my brain was like, you too. And I was just like, no, brain. This is not how we talk. And then, but I didn't want to point out for you because I'm like, oh, you're in like a flow state. I am this person, you know? Because who cares how we sound? So if that happens again, I don't care. Also, if we ever do, I think I've said this enough times, but I'm going to say it again. If we ever do any rule wrong, if we ever make a freaking mistake on whatever, I just want you to know we were downstairs reading through our characters' feats so that we would know what they can do for the first time in our campaign. We've been recording for almost a year.
Yeah.
We
just so you know.
Fast character these characters. We have no idea what they do.
Look.
The depths of our depravity.
Look, I've only fast charactered one character, but with friggin' I've only ever played rogues before, like in the past, and so I think with friggin' Yezi and Etheod, I may be a little bit more equipped to play this right. I've never played a monk or a cleric or even like multi-class as them, so if I did anything wrong with Iferson or like, you know, any rules wrong or whatever,
we don't care.
You know, it's the story, you know?
We're
homebrewing our own rules.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
The thing is that I may have also said this, I didn't read the D&D player handbook before we started this campaign. I also still have not, I've opened it a couple times.
We're really going fast and loose with
we
this.
have jobs, everyone. Also, like, what is this if not a living diary of basically me learning how to become a DM.
Honestly.
Through practice and trial and error, and through zero technical learning experience.
Yeah, like me practicing to be a player character.
Like, let this be some sort of testimony that you can play this game without. Okay, if we're defining playing this game as having fun with friends, you can play this game without knowing anything. Because we are having lots of fun,
honestly.
You know, and Google was invented
also
by
I
Jesus
feel like
so that I can play the video game.
we are like we're playing D&D because we got the the general stats and rules and the combat now finally for once in our freaking lives.
But we're not that sure about it.
Yeah, but I think like this is so barely D&D. It is so like we are telling a story and making stuff, and we just have to have parameters off what we can do with rolls and crap. But I love D&D so much. So, like, that's the beauty of D&D, though, is that you have this thing, but it doesn't matter if you follow it exactly to what it, like, to a T or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I know some people care about that they want, like, hard, fast rules, rail gates, whatever. But I think the great thing is, like, you get this outline and you get given these ideas of like barriers and whatever, but we're like setting our own DCs. You're like having to describe stuff visually and explain why somebody gets advantage or disadvantage or inspiration or whatever. And so these rules are really just there so that it's not like anything can happen. It's to make it more realistic, because the point of D&D isn't the rules or the features or whatever. The point of D&D is to make a beautiful story with the people that you love in your life.
Yeah. And like the whole thing was so like set up for disaster from the beginning. Just I literally don't know how to balance any type of combat type thing. I don't know how to balance like people being extremely different levels from each other. I don't know. I don't but also like I don't
also most of our
characters
aren't actually really all that different level. Like Etheod is level 1 because he's a tiny baby.
Yeah, he's a child.
I think Tavamil's level 3 now. Same thing, no experience, just living on the farm.
Yeah.
Lucian and Fingers, I know, are level 9. Yezi is level 9. Everson is level 10. But level 5, cleric, level 5 monk.
Yeah.
I don't know what Thalen is, but, he's
you
something.
Probably guess. Yeah, I think that this was all so ill-conceived from the beginning that if we do things wrong, it is just, it literally, like, I was just like, these all things seem interesting to do together.
Yeah.
And I can only learn so much in one increment, like learning as I've gone along. But like first episode, I was just like, these are the things that I want to do, and we're just going to see what they look like when they come out. And this is where we're at. So all that is to say, now and before, and also from now, if we get any rules wrong, or we could have done something and didn't.
Yeah.
I just want you to know that in that moment, we couldn't have done it because neither of us knew about it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we saw that. So for whatever reason, justify it yourself with some sort of, you can literally justify anything at all with a little brain legwork. Just justify it to yourself as a little fun game.
Also, if we are doing anything wrong and you do want to tell us, I will happily read it, and then we'll know.
We'll know what we're doing wrong, and we get better at playing this dumb game. But so, yeah, the reason that this is being disclaimed is because we just did combat. B, you'll find out.
Great.
Yeah. So anyway, so Everson got into a scrape with some high elf fighters dressed as rogues. Shut up. I'm not listening to you. I can't hear you, okay? I'm far away. And got killed straight up.
Yeah, I know. I was like, wow, I get one episode as this character?
Yeah, she got critted. That was what killed her. She got critted, and then she crit rolled a death save and fully woke up.
Yeah.
Like, fully was revived.
Wasn't just stabilized, fully 1 hit point. It was like, oh, okay.
Because I think if you had stabilized at 0 and been unconscious, what would have happened is Lucian would have poured into your body a raised dead potion, and it wouldn't have done anything because you were alive.
Yeah.
So he would have wasted it on nothing at all. So you either had to die or crit and wake up and not do the other thing, and you friggin' woke the heck up. You gave him some of your potions, one of your potions of whatever the heck, and cure wounds, and then you did a healing word on yourself.
Yeah.
And then the guards rushed in, heard some carriage wheels a-rumbling, and said to themselves, oh, snap.
Our big boy
There's
is
a
here.
guy, yeah, there's a guy coming on a carriage that we know about. One of them rolled a stanky perception check, noticed that Lucian was not where he was before, and put him back functionally, tied him up again, arms behind the support beam. And you're extremely doing a good job of looking dead still.
Yeah.
I mean, you're absolutely covered in
blood. Yeah.
Like, your wound knit together, but you can't see that. All you can see is there's blood everywhere.
Yeah.
So, that was what happened in the last episode.
Freaking heck, man.
Yeah. The button was very good, and I was like...
Yeah.
It was a good button.
What's your name?
I was like, looking for one.
Uh-huh.
And then when you said that, I was like, well, this is it. For surely this is it. You know, you gotta know when to edit your scenes.
Tavamil and Iferson are my two favorite to play, just because they're so, like, what's gonna happen? Yeah. I don't even know.
Me neither. It's scary being me sometimes. All right, so it was dark where we were before. Extremely dark, warehouse illuminated by moonlight, basically. And now we're in an extremely well-lit room. Blindingly well-lit for the camera, who has just been transported from darkness. And the room right now, it's just a, simple sitting room, a couch, some couple closets, some lamps and all, etc. And, there's really nothing remarkable about the room. Oh, except the fact that in it are, a thief who is gently holding the hand while squatting of, a extremely perturbed looking high elf rogue master of who himself has a dagger stabbed into the wall in front of a child who has just been shocked out of what is ostensibly a dissociative episode. And is now present. And all of this is being sort of spectated by a
trying to act suave Yezi.
An elegant lady.
She's so mad, dude. Her like idea of this was, well, I played that off really well as he's like, okay, she's lying maybe to get in my pants, kind of whatever, and I can't prove that she's not working on the thief thing. And I think that she played that off really well. And she's like, okay, this didn't go that well. He's leaving. I'm going to let him leave because then I won't have to maybe kill him. And, they won't have to come out and be seen and cause a whole ruckus and all that. And now that's not the case at all, which is great.
Yeah, well,
she's like, hey, Fingers, maybe stay put.
Listen, you gotta strike while the iron's hot or something. Yes, she is sort of spectating, doing her best to hide the volcanic eruption raging behind her eyes. And it's a very Renaissance portrait-esque scene of just everyone is frozen. No one is exactly sure what to do. Since technically Ossen made a threatening movement, just in case. Let's roll some initiative.
Okay. I really hope I don't roll like trash today.
I also hope you don't roll like trash today. What did you get?
Etheod is 12 and Yezi is 9.
With your pluses?
Yeah.
I guess Yezi is going back to her classic rolling really, really well trend. Initiative has been rolled in the event that it is necessary to be rolled. And so everyone is in position.
Yeah.
The stage has been set for whatever it is that's going to happen next. And go ahead and let me have Etheod roll a disadvantage perception check.
Okay. 5. It was a 4 and a nat 20.
Well, it was disadvantage.
Yeah.
Oh, I see why the sigh of sadness. The nat 20 though.
I know.
Getting them out of the way.
Using them up.
Yeah, you can. Etheod has really just been kind of snapped back into reality as this guy stops his forward momentum with the exclamation point stab into the wall in front of him. And everything was sort of nothing, you know, when Etheod was coming out of the room. It wasn't that he was not paying attention. In fact, he was so extremely paying attention. So much effort was going into paying attention. Despite everything else that was going on directly in front of his eyes, which was his life, basically. But it was that very effort expended in focus that he sort of lost himself in as he walked towards Ossen in a stealthful way, but not stealthy enough. And as this knife is buried in front of him, the only thing that Etheod notices is as the knife is buried, the sound that makes kind of pops you out of whatever you were in. And you catch out of the corner of your eye, Fingers flinches for a moment.
Okay. And
that's the only movement you see other than the knife in front of you. You and Fingers kind of flinch in unison. And it is still once more after that, Ossen, who did not need to look at you in order to know that you were there. And was still staring at Fingers when he did that, is gonna kind of like gently turn his head towards you and look out at you from just barely the corner of his eye.
Which one, Yezi or Etheod?
Etheod.
Okay.
Yeah. He's gonna look at you barely out of the corner of his eye, as though to roll insight.
Okay. 19.
Wow, dude. He is looking you up and down in the sizing you up department.
Okay.
Sort of saying, it's extremely... You have been assessed as a threat before.
Yeah.
Whether or not that was an excellent moment in your life. You do have experience having someone decide whether you are worth killing or how challenging that will be to them. And you also see plain on his face his review of you, which is that there are two people in this room. And he is going to turn his face back towards Fingers, who, with your, what was it, 19 that you got or something like that? Yeah. As his head turns back towards Fingers, your focus moves from Ossen to Fingers' face, and you can see him looking at the exact split the difference between Ossen and you, just directly in that spot. And he looks, you've seen Fingers scared before, legitimately scared. And it wasn't when Thalen was saying, hey, you might be in trouble. It was when you all realized that Lucian was gone. You saw him scared. He looks whatever shade beyond that is. He looks like harrowed. He looks like he's been struck by lightning or something. And Ossen is going to pull his hand away out of Fingers' hand. In a very sort of like he was disgusted by having touched. You do know what I mean by that?
Absolutely.
And he's going to look at Fingers fully and say, so this is where you've been hiding.
Yezi is gonna get up, and she's gonna start walking towards Ossen, but like slowly. And
how? Okay, are you gonna walk as you say this. If you get close enough, he's pulling a weapon on you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she's gonna get closer, but she's not gonna be, like, crowding in on him, because I think that she knows, like, crowded animal,
Bites.
yeah.
You are 15 feet away from him right now.
Okay. She's just gonna, like, take a couple steps forward.
Mm-hmm.
Her arms are crossed, and she's just like, look, I don't want anyone to get hurt, and I hope that this can be amicable. We just want to have a conversation.
He's not looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
He sort of like his eyes flickered in your direction, and then he heard you stop walking, and so he stopped needing to care.
Yeah.
And Finger's hand is still where it was.
Yeah.
It hasn't moved at all. And he is just fully locked eyes with Ossen, who is still kind of scanning generally the room. Austin's eyes are going to kind of drift back towards Fingers in a sort of jokingly casual way and say, he's going to look at his hand and say, Fingers, I presume.
Yezi gets so mad. Etheod gets mad too.
And Fingers, who is squatting, is going to put his hand, there's like a molding situation. He's gonna like put his hand on the molding and kind of like look down and like push himself up to his feet. And he's gonna say, "Who, me? Ha ha. What a funny name, right? What a loser, huh? To get a name like that. What makes you think I'm me?" He's gonna step back like a little bit. Or he's me. Why would you think that? And Ossen is gonna kind of like look at him. Because as he's kind of like saying nothing to anyone in particular, he's kind of like shaking his head and looking down. He looks. Roll a perception check for Yezi.
Okay.
That was the sound of Shay shooting herself after this trash perception
6.
check. Wow.
Yeah.
He looks like he's already been punched in the face. Like he looks like he just got hit in the head really hard.
Okay.
Like he's shaking something off. And Ossen is gonna raise an eyebrow at him. He's just like looking everywhere and not at Ossen.
I think Yezi's gonna pipe up because she sees this and she's just like, don't pay attention to him. I don't want you to.
Right, yeah.
And I think that she's going to kind of say, their location and what they are doing really has nothing to interest you at all. They're just some thieves that broke into a store that has nothing to do with any of your goals or anything like that. So why would you care about them? This is about you and me.
Fingers is kind of looking back up at both of you, but he's looking like he looks like Princess Diana. He's like heads down and he's like looking up underneath his eyelashes kind of. And when you say these thieves, Ossen is gonna sharply turn his gaze back towards Etheod, and he's gonna pull the knife, the dagger out of the wall.
Etheod is very still and kind of watches the knife leave the wall and where it goes next.
And Ossen is going to smile like a extremely confident smile.
Okay.
And he's going to say, and this is Mr. E, I presume. And Fingers is going to take a step towards him and say, hey, you're talking to me, okay? Just me. I'm the one asking the question. I haven't started yet, but I will be the one asking. And Ossen is going to say, what is the meaning of this, Yezi? Bring me in here, say a bunch of suspicious nonsense. Suddenly the targets appear? I mean...
Look, sometimes there's stuff going on that you don't know anything about. You don't know the contracts and all of the underworkings of this city, even though you might like to think that you do. I just need to ask a few questions, and then we can go our separate ways. I want to end this in a way where nobody gets hurt.
Well, unfortunate for you all, I do have my orders.
So do we.
I am curious, though. He's going to take the dagger and not sheath it, but he just pulled it out of the wall. He's kind of bringing his arm to his side. You roll a perception check.
Okay.
As you roll 2 perception checks, Etheod and what's-her-face.
Etheod gets a 8. Yezi gets a 14.
Fingers is... Yezi can see that Fingers is, as Ossen and you, Yezi, are talking, Fingers is moving himself very slowly towards... It goes Fingers, Ossen, Etheod. He's moving towards Etheod.
Okay.
And as he kind of passes just a little in front of Ossen and your kind of eye line...
Yeah.
Ossen's gonna just put his arm up. Like, he's not gonna put it out, he's not gonna touch him.
Yeah.
He's just gonna say, "And where do you think you're going?" And Fingers is going to say, you have questions, we have questions, everybody has questions, okay? But you can do whatever you want, but you're... And Ossen is gonna roll something, and he's gonna start laughing. He's gonna, oh, that's so adorable. Are you worried about your little friend? And Fingers is gonna say, no, I'm not worried about anybody. Because we could wipe the floor with you.
Look, I know that you like to have your fun, right? She's like staring at Ossen. She's not even acknowledging all the other 2 people. This is too easy for you, isn't it? All 3 of us in the room all at once just happen to be here. And if you turn us in now, where's the fun in that? Why don't we make this into a little game? You answer my questions. We leave this without anyone getting hurt. And the search is on. And if you win, you can do whatever you want with me.
Ossen is gonna... He's, like, staring just right at you, still with his hand up. Fingers is, like, full, stanced up.
Yeah.
And Ossen is going to look at you and say, fine.
Okay.
I will answer 3 questions to the best of my ability.
All right. First question. Where did you take the woman that we kidnapped?
Ossen's eyes are going to get huge. He's going to... This was not a question that he was expecting you to ask. And he's going to, like, eyes get really big, and then he's just going to start laughing. Like, he's laughing at himself for being a fool. And he's going to say... I followed my orders and I brought her to Waypoint.
Okay. Waypoint. Right. And I'm assuming Yezi knows what that is, right?
We'll roll a luck check.
Is that not where Frenthius yelled at her?
Oh, listen, Shay knows where she is. Would Yezi think that Waypoint means the Waypoint or Waypoint Town? We can roll a luck check to see which one.
All right.
Unless you feel like she would.
I feel like she would.
Okay.
Only because she was at the waypoint when Frenthius yelled at her. So I feel like he wouldn't just be like, I brought her to the waypoint. I feel like she would make that connection in her head, like, this.
Okay,
here.
yeah. He's trying to pull one over on me, but he doesn't realize that I was
there. He
know...
probably doesn't know that I was there at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So, okay. Got it.
Okay.
He sticks up one finger, and he says, next question.
You had mentioned that Lucian had been dealt with. Where would that entail him being, even if he is dead or alive?
My dear, I am foremostly a tool to be used at the king's request. I don't need to know all of these granular pieces of information. I just need to know that he was dealt with, which is what I was told. You are, as they say, barking up the wrong tree if you think that I know all of these details. I can tell you this. I can tell you that I am certain that he was dealt with. My orders, as were yours, were to end his life. So if I am to interpret the fact that he was dealt with as in any other way, I don't know what it would be.
Right.
You can roll a history check.
Okay. 7.
Roll one as Etheod.
Okay.
Disadvantage, because he was busy.
9.
Etheod is going over the information, in the same way that Yezi is trying to piece together exactly what must have happened. A lot was said between her and Ossen pre this conversation. You, Yezi, you were very caught up with performing your role. But Etheod distinctly remembers Ossen saying the where he got his information from. He said exactly where he got that information from. There's a chance that it occurs to Etheod, that person might actually know what happened. He just can't for the life of him remember who it was that Ossen had said.
Okay.
Unless you can.
I feel like she wouldn't I think both of them wouldn't want to bring up Tavamil's name just in case she is a unknown quantity. Because throughout this whole thing, not a single person besides Fingers has mentioned Tavamil, besides the people involved.
Yeah.
Has mentioned Tavamil. Has anyone mentioned looking for a Tavamil? Anything like that? And the only thing is mentioned is that they wanted the mom, and there wasn't like and you have to kill. They're like your target is Lucian. Kill him. Never was there mentioned another person that might be there. And so she's like, maybe she is off the radar, and I don't want to put her on the radar because she doesn't know.
I would say that that's solid logic.
Yeah. So I think she is standing there kind of putting this information in her head, going over it, trying to think of what the best question to ask is. And so there's like a moment of silence, and Etheod goes, Yezi, can I ask a question, please?
Ossen, you and Ossen just like your eyeballs pop out of your head, and Fingers does too. He's like, you're supposed to be playing wallpaper right now, dude.
No, you cannot. I don't know, Yezi, please. I promise that it will help us. I know. I just look. I'm just going to ask it. I'm sorry. Don't freaking ask it. Who gave you this information about Lucian?
You don't know? He's gonna look at Yezi. What, tell me, what were you distracted by? I'm interested. And he's gonna, like, turn his head and, like, you know, give you, like, a good 3/4 profile view of his face. What was it specifically that you were so distracted by?
I don't know. Maybe the fact that I was trying not to throw up the entire time.
Can you just answer his question? I told you my sources are reliable, did I not?
And who were they? You have to answer the question.
It was one of Farith's men.
That's not a name.
I don't know his name. He probably doesn't know. Well, there's a chance he knows mine.
What did he look like? You have to give us some semblance of an answer that isn't just vague.
He was a high elf. You know Farith's men. They don't wear the same, you know, they wear the colours of his particular family order. They wear green and white instead of green and purple. Just, you know, one of them. I mean, if memory serves, he had sort of dark blonde hair and it's unremarkable. He was unremarkable. I mean, there were a handful of them here. And
I mean, you do all look the same, so...
Excuse me?
You all look the same, so I can understand how it can be unremarkable.
I don't expect a rock to be able to tell people apart.
Well, this rock you seemed rather interested in.
Well, hopefully this rock can count. And he's going to take a step towards Etheod. And he is going to reach out towards him.
Okay.
And as he does that, Fingers, who rolled a nat 20 on his initiative roll, is going to get to work, as it were.
I do want Yezi just quickly to say, wasn't part of the deal that you were going to let us go.
I think you can say that on your turn.
Okay.
Cool. So he is going to, you can sneak attack if people are near you. Your allies are near you.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yep.
You have to be within like 5 feet or something. Is that right?
If you hit, you get sneak attack once per turn. If you're,
really?
So if you get advantage on the roll for some reason, if they're surprised or whatever.
I'm an idiot. It's written right here. I'm just like not. Okay, cool.
That means if the enemy is within 5 feet of an ally, because they're an enemy of your enemy.
The enemy of my enemy is my ally.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So he is going to attack with a dagger. Okay. So sneak attack.
You roll
a hit.
Yeah. If you hit, you get we're both level 9, right? So you get plus 5d6 to the damage.
Dang, bro.
Yeah, plus 5d6.
Oh, poor Fingers.
And you rolled a nat 20 though, right?
Yeah.
Does that not mean that you get advantage on the attack?
I don't think you do.
Okay, it might just be an assassin thing. I know you can choose your initiative order.
I will say, he definitely wants to go first.
Yeah.
I will say I'm gonna rule this house rules, perma house rules. If you get a nat 20 initiative roll, no matter what, they are surprised.
Okay.
So I will say on that attack, I mean, this is maybe kind of whack. I'll say on that first attack, that's why you get advantage on it. As I roll my advantage. His AC is 14. Fingers rolled a 13.
Oh, no.
So he is going to the moment Ossen takes a step towards Etheod, Fingers loses all sense of ability, all sense of, he becomes, the idea of protecting someone in pinched combat has not occurred to him, at least for a while. That's not part of his job.
Yeah.
His job is to steal things and run away and get roughed up by other people, and not, who is he protecting?
Yeah.
Yezi can protect herself. generally. And so his brain knows what to do, and his body is just not kept up with the practice enough to maintain it. And so he reaches out with his dagger, and Ossen, the first one misses fully. It does not expect the second coming back for him, and it just barely, the tip of it barely grazes his chin.
Okay.
As he like turns back. But the thing that Fingers did do definitely is get his attention.
Okay.
So he's turned towards Fingers, who just and like real quick 1, 2, and is looking like wide-eyed, like wild-eyed in Austin's direction. Is there other crap that Fingers can do? He uses action. After he does that, he is going to that's going to be the end of his turn. And yep, okay, cool. So now it is Etheod's turn.
Okay. I think Etheod is going to back up 30 feet.
Okay.
Or, as far as he can. This is a kind of cramped space. He's going to say, Fingers, stop. We said that we were going to end this now. We are not going to hurt anyone now. I think he will hold to his word. And he's going to ready an action that if Ossen doesn't hold to his word and he attacks somebody, then he is going to make a ranged attack on Ossen. Unless, obviously if Ossen gets close to him, then he can make a melee attack.
Yeah,
but,
correct.
Yeah.
You will attack him in some capacity. Okay. Anything else you want to do?
No.
Okay. Yezi is next.
No. Are you serious? Holy shit.
Ossen got a 7 on initiative with his with pluses added.
Okay. So Ossen has turned to face Fingers?
Yeah.
Okay. How close together are they?
They're like 1 squares are touching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If she were to ready because she has the assassinate feat, so if she were to make an attack right now, she would get advantage and a hit would be an auto crit.
Yeah.
If she readied an attack on this turn, would that still apply?
Heck yeah, sure.
Okay.
I don't freaking care. That sounds cool as heck. So
Okay.
you're gonna ready assassinate, and the trigger would be
if he attacks.
okay. Anybody at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what she's gonna do is move in between, like elbow Fingers out of the way, like
Okay.
elbow him backwards.
You're gonna have to do an athletics check.
Okay. 16.
Let me forget to pose it. Fingers. I used all my juice on that friggin' nat 20 initiative order. So you're gonna push him back.
Yeah,
so
but like not hard enough to make him fall over.
Right.
But yeah.
Yep. You are.
Oh no.
You push him. You go to push him back. So, but your idea is you're just kind of like elbowing yourself in between him and Ossen.
Yeah.
Right. So as you do that, Fingers is not Fingers. Fingers is a wild animal.
Yeah.
And he is like pinpoint pupils, just like staring at Ossen.
Yeah.
Just like you're gonna threaten a kid.
Yeah.
You're gonna threaten a kid, but my you're gonna threaten my brother. Like fully just like I am not here. So when you go to elbow yourself in between him, like he's fully like rabid dog mode.
Yeah.
And so when you go to do that, he is ready for everything and nothing at the same time.
Yeah.
So when you go to do that, you kind of elbow yourself in between him. He was off balance enough as emotionally, you fully knock him prone.
Okay.
So as you bump through him, you literally just like you get yourself like Fingers was moving slowly like forward towards him, and when you do that, you just happen to knock him off balance enough that he falls back and he's like sitting down.
Okay.
Which is technically not prone, but it will be the status of prone.
Okay, well.
You rolled in that one.
Yeah, I figured.
That wasn't evident. Cool.
And then, so Yezi's gonna ready assassinate. And she's going to say, "Are you going to keep to your word, or are we going to have to do this now?" Also,
yeah.
Sorry. Bonus action, she's going to cast Blade Ward on herself.
Okay, what does that do?
It gives her resistance to bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing damage
fancy
until the end of her next turn. And I can do that 4 times per long rest. So, number 1 used.
Ossen is going to raise an eyebrow at you and say, "I thought you were going to help." "Well, I suppose you did." And he is going to use the Skirmisher class feature, which allows him to move half his movement speed without getting an attack of opportunity.
Okay, but I got reaction set.
No, I know that.
Okay.
He's going to sidestep you.
Okay.
And he is going to sneak attack Fingers, who is prone, so he gets advantage.
So can I roll for Etheod and Yezi's reactions?
An action goes first, so he also would go first.
Okay. Oh no.
You didn't. No, don't worry.
Okay.
He got a 19, but it went to 20 and then rolled back to 12. I was like, oh snap, dude. Okay, cool. So he gets hit. He's gonna hit with a sneak attack on Fingers. 1d8 plus 3 plus 5d6.
Mm-hmm. Wait, sneak attack doesn't count for him.
Why not?
Oh, he got advantage on the roll. Never mind. It does. Because he doesn't have enemies.
That sucks.
But he got advantage on this roll, so it does count.
You mean he doesn't have allies? Is that right?
Or yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Because that's the only way that it counts unless he got advantage, which he did, unfortunately, for this one.
4 plus 3 is 7. So it's going to be
5d6.
7 plus 5 is 12. 5 is 17. 4 is 21. 1 is 22. 5 is 27.
Okay. Ugh.
Yep. So he's gonna sidestep Yezi and just absolutely go to town on Fingers, who is I said 27.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I write that down like a not idiot. Who is just like he was kind of stunned out of his mad dog status.
Yeah.
And when Yezi kind of bumped into him, and he sort of found himself sitting on the ground, and then suddenly there was a just blades fully surrounding him, as Ossen does his job basically, and he gets hit many times, so it's just like it's faster than you, Yezi, or you, Etheod. You had, obviously, your expectation was that he was going to keep to his word. And so it happened so quickly. And fortunately for you two, you were ready for just such an occasion. So,
all right.
Who would like to go first?
I'll do Yezi first.
Okay, that works. I don't know if we should go in initiative
I
order.
guess we can.
So Etheod would go first.
So Etheod first.
Yeah.
16.
That hits.
Okay, and then 1d4 plus 7 damage from Etheod.
Okay.
And then now Yezi, but she also gets advantage on this roll. And if she hits, it's an auto crit. So she gets a plus 9.
Dang.
And she's hitting with her rapier. So either a 18 or 11. So 18 hits.
That hits.
So 2d8 plus 10d6.
Dang.
Plus 5.
2d8 plus 10d6 plus 5.
Yeah. Does the plus 5? No. The plus to attack doesn't double. It's just the dice.
Correct.
Okay. So 2d8 plus 10d6. That's crazy.
It is crazy. Friggin' Rose, man.
All right. We'll roll the first batch of...
Right.
She's good at her job, you know?
You know? She don't like it, but she's good.
Oh, that was trash. All right, hold on. 43 damage.
Dang, girl.
So he got a total in one hit, or one round, he got a total of 50 damage.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Goodness.
Goodness.
Goodness. that is Yezi. That was the end of the reaction?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, now it is, it's still Ossen's turn because the reactions just happened.
Yeah.
He did his action to hit fingers. And he's going to look back at you all because he gets, what is it that Etheod did? What was his attack?
Like a dart.
Way that he attacked? Oh, a dart?
Yeah.
So the dart will say, because that was pretty good. It's like buries into his shoulder, and so he like grabs at it and looks back over his shoulder at Etheod. What does Etheod look like when he does this attack?
He is like pure fury. Like I feel like because tieflings are half demon, I think when he gets mad, like it's like his like the inside of him is glowing red hot. So like behind his eyes seems to be glowing, and like there seems to be like steam coming off of him with how angry he is. Like there's a fire burning inside of him.
And then as he sees that, and his impression of you basically was like, as you could, this, he showed it to you on his face. It was just, you are not a relevant party to this. And you really weren't. I mean, 7 damage is something that he could shrug off easily. And his attention has been drawn. Yezi is, for all intents and purposes, his coworker. There is clearly something going on, but perhaps something that he did not expect. And so when all of a sudden he turns his head to look at Etheod as he puts his arm up where this dart hit him, and he pulls it out of his shoulder, and he realizes as he brings his arm up to pull this dart out that he's covered in blood. And it takes him to a moment to realize that it isn't Finger's blood. It is his own, and the pain hits him after that, and he turns to look at you as though to ask you why all of a sudden he feels this way, and all of a sudden he's covered in blood, as though you could give him an explanation. And he looks back at you. What do you look like, Yezi?
Yezi has like this intense, deep sadness in her face. But I think it's so mixed. Like I think her face is like kind of screwed up, in this like eyebrows furrowed, like mouth really just like grimacing, kind of like I'm showing you what I'm made of now, finally. You know, this is what you wanted, isn't it? But her eyes are showing rage because I think if he had hurt anyone in this room, you know, she wasn't going to let him do that. But the fact that he hurt Fingers and so intensely that she can't imagine any worse sin.
And Ossen is going to look at you with just complete oblivion on his face as he comes to terms with the fact, as he comes to terms with his hit point total. And he looks back at you and says, he like puts his hand on any wound, non-specifically, just one of them, and says, "You've made enemies with the Weftway clan.
Yeah.
That is certainly true.
That's alright.
The guild will be coming for you too.
I think I'll have a lot of people coming for me."
And he is going to... He just used his disengage. He can use his cunning action, right?
Does he have cunning action?
Yeah, because he's a rogue. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, it's a reaction. Or, sorry, no, it's a bonus action. So if he used a bonus action, he can't. But I don't know if he did or not.
Did he use a freaking bonus action? I don't think he did.
He just attacked, and that was it, right?
Yeah.
So then no, he
lots
probably
of
didn't.
reactions happened.
So yeah, cunning action is a bonus action.
He is going to use disengage cunning action. and he is going to run towards Etheod. And his movement speed is 40.
Oh, no.
So he makes it to Etheod.
Yeah.
And any sort of grapple or attack or anything, that's another action, I think. Obviously used his attack. He sort of gives you an unseeing look. Like, he's not looking at you as a person. His face is turned in your direction. And his eyes kind of bounce over to Fingers, who is equally surprised, Fingers, to find himself covered in blood.
Yeah.
And is absent-mindedly pondering to himself, whose is whose?
Yeah.
Where did what come from? And he is going to turn his head towards Etheod and just break for him. And as that happens, you see Fingers' eyes fill with fire.
Yeah.
And you can see it's not happening because it can't happen. It's not a possible thing. Etheod knows this. Yezi really has no context. So it could be happening. But you see two fiery red horns made of light appear on Fingers' head. And he was too shocked to be in pain, and now he's to something else.
Yeah.
And he is, it's not his turn, so legally he can't stand up. But he's going to make for to stand up, as he would on his turn. And open his mouth, and his eyes are just red light.
Yeah.
Like, he looks like Etheod looked, just a dark red, like, burning fire. And he opens his mouth, and suddenly you hear him go, and everything disappears from the light disappears in his eyes and his face. And he puts one hand, like, heavily on his chest and, like, hits the ground, and the other hand is like holding him up on the ground. Okay. And he just starts, like, shaking his head.
Okay.
So that's going to end Ossen's turn.
Oh my god, I can't do anything with that because it's not my turn.
You're right. It is Fingers' turn. You okay? You're, like, friggin' holding your breath.
I
am. Yeah. Fingers, I keep looking at his character sheet because I like, fast character in it, and it says that he's 38 years old. I'm just like, it's funny because it's not. So that functionally, like, happened in the gray area between Ossen and Fingers' turn. Fingers is going to use his movement speed, half his movement speed, to stand up.
Okay.
He is going to use his action dash.
Okay.
So he will be able to move 45 feet. No, he'll be able to move 30 feet because he used half his movement to stand up, so he gets 15 feet, and then he would get that again, so 45 feet. So he's going to
15 plus 15 is 30. Yeah,
but his movement is 30. So he uses half of it to stand up.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
This is the ruling. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I guess you could say it would be 30, but I feel like this interpretation makes more sense. So you see him, like, as he like puts his hand on the ground, and the other hand that was on his chest is, like, clutching at his shirt. For the nerds out there, he was going to use the reaction Hellish Rebuke, and then didn't for whatever reason. And he's, like, shaking his head, and the hand in his shirt is, like, he's, like, burying his fingers in his shirt. And the other hand goes to the ground. He's, like, shakes his head, and he just, like, does, like, when you see people in, like, a foot race, one hand on the ground, start, and just does an extremely ungraceful running, like, from knees on the ground to running start, just, like, takes a handful of carpet and just propels himself forward. And he does the dash action he can do that as a freaking cunning action, so that doesn't have to be his action. Great! Sweet. So he cunning action dashes. Can you tell I've never played this game before? No. He cunning action dashes, And he is going to... Ossen gets to Etheod. And in that space before he can... In the slow-mo of whatever's going to happen next... as far as Etheod is concerned, Fingers appears behind Ossen. Like, it is just Ossen, and then he sees Fingers. Fingers is going to take one arm and to Etheod. Fingers... Now, he saw his, like, these red light horns appear and fully disappear on his face, on his head, and his eyes have returned to these pinpoint pupils of someone who's on a mission. And he's covered in blood, whether it's his own or Ossen's. Etheod does not know. What does Etheod feel about Fingers when he sees him?
I think that he develops this idea of a new side of Fingers that is terrifying. I think that earlier when they met, Fingers was trying to be intimidating. You know, he was trying to intimidate Etheod, and he was scared in that moment, but only because he didn't know anything about Fingers, and he was like, I'm gonna get murked because he knows that I'm a tiefling and people are racist. And he was so upset about it, and so, like, you know, he had this idea where he was just like, okay, this is it for me, boys. But he didn't genuinely find Fingers intimidating. He knew that he was trying to put on this ruse, and then it was very easily broken. And not a single instance has he been intimidating at all. Like, you know, he hasn't found him that way at all, maybe except for when they were going past the guards to get into this room. You know, he had kind of that mean mug going on. But even then... it broke so easily. And now I think Etheod sees this blood-covered Fingers that was like the devil incarnate himself for a brief moment, and has this look in his eyes that I feel like can only be described as just like intense craze, like disregard for his own personal safety. And I think Etheod is like, oh, so you can be terrifying. And I'm gonna roll something. Okay. You're scared to look?
No, I was scared to look, yeah. Fingers has, like, it is they're gone now. You can tell that they're gone and that it's just Fingers looking terrifying to you. But he approaches Ossen like a wild animal. Like, as he walks up behind him or runs up behind him, you get this sense that he doesn't know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And all he knows is that it's going to be destructive.
Yeah.
And as he runs up behind you, he sees you with his eyes.
Etheod?
He sees Etheod, yes. He sees Etheod with his eyes. And then all of a sudden he looks at you. And he sees your absolute blind terror on your face. But you're not looking at Ossen. You're looking at him. And all of a sudden you see his pupils widen and return to the size that they were before. And all of a sudden, instead of the complete unidentifiable expression of an animal, just, you know, like animals, their expression is none. They just look like what they are. He returns to having an expression of some description on his face. There's understanding flashes in his eyes.
Yeah.
And he puts away whatever idea he had about what was going to happen next and takes his arm and wraps it around Ossen's neck, and he's going to do a grapple.
Okay.
So that's going to be opposed athletics. Fingers is kind of lanky. Fingers, man! What the heck? Oh, golly wolly.
Bad or good?
Okay, so... Fingers is going to take one arm and wrap it around Ossen's neck. Like, he's going to try and grab his head and pull him back. And when he goes to do that, you can tell even in the motion that whatever is happening with Fingers, this realization that he was out of control or something dawns on him, and it is that he is dealing with and not the conflict at hand.
Yeah.
So you can see this arm going around his shoulder or going around his neck isn't done so with purpose or motivated by a desire to do something. It is done out of a desperate effort to not kill him, and is instead he just sort of takes his arm and just sort of flings it in front of him, like he's trying to salvage this would-be killing blow. He is still armed, like he has the dagger, but it is pointing at him, like out, like into the world, because he's wraps arm around him. And when he goes to do that, Ossen, who is everyone is wearing lots of clothing, but something that is not lost on Etheod is the amount that Fingers shrinks when you grab a hold of him. The feeling of fabric that makes something look bulky disappearing. Ossen has not so far. That hasn't really happened with him. And so as this arm wraps around, Ossen is fully going to just take the hand that he has the dagger in, the non-rapier hand, and bat Fingers' arm out of the way. Okay. Like it's not even there. And so Fingers is standing behind him, having had his arm knocked out of the way. I'm going to see if he can hold on to his weapon, because that was a pretty good roll from... We'll say 10 and over, he keeps hold of his dagger. You got an 18.
Ooh,
so,
okay, cool.
Fingers, we'll say, Fingers, as he, like, brings his arm back, even just reasserts his grip on his dagger, and that motion knocks him out of whatever reverie he was having. He does not have any other crap that he can do, and he's going to end his turn. Okay. And now it's Etheod's turn.
All right. So first things first, I don't know if this would matter because I don't know his point total. I forgot to roll sneak attack for Etheod's daggers, or dart.
Oh, okay.
So we need to add that onto the damage. Might kill him. If it kills him, he'll
be alive with...
If it'll kill him, HP. I'll just have forgotten it.
Okay, fine. Let's do it.
4.
Oh, okay. Is it just 4?
Yeah.
Okay, because he's a bab. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because he gets 1d6.
Got it.
All right. I think out of just pure, like, terror, not knowing what to do, somebody's coming at him, and he is weak and feeble. He's just going to take one of his daggers and just, like, blindly whip it out in front of him to kind of just, like, be like, get away from me. And hit with that, or at least try to. 15.
Yeah, 15. Yeah, it hits.
Okay. So 1d4 sneak attack and plus 3. 8 damage. And Etheod is gonna stay right where he is, because if he moves, he's gonna...
It's opportunity attack. So he doesn't get cunning actions?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Because he's level 1.
Okay. I don't know how that works. You would think.
You get that at level 2, I think.
Oh, well, jeez.
Yeah.
So you take this, like, first act, baby's first dagger, and this guy who just crazed, batted Fingers' arm out of the way, with, like, it was nothing, is keeping running at you, and, is, again, covered in blood. Life is great. And when you bury this dagger into his shoulder, he is smiling at you.
Yeah. I think that all of the rage and, fiery light and all that was on Etheod has disappeared because he's realized, like, Fingers can take care of himself. I don't know if I can.
Yeah.
This is real, and this is fully in front of me, and I've never thought that I would have to deal with a situation like this ever.
Yeah. And Ossen's reading that all over your face. He is looking at you with a smile on his face. And there's blood that is seeping out of his mouth. And he's looking at you with pure, just confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Does that end your turn?
Yep.
Okay, it is Yezi's turn.
Okay. She is going to attack. Come on, Yezi, please, for the love of God. She's going to attack with her rapier again. Oh, no. Actually, she is not near enough. She is going to move her full 30 feet. Okay, actually, she's going to bonus action dash to get up on Ossen, to be within area. So now she is within melee range. And so she's going to attack with her rapier. Ooh. So freaking close. 14.
Meets it, beats it.
Oh shit. I thought he had 15. Okay. Nope. Oh, okay. So she gets 1d8 plus 5 plus 5 d6. So I'm going to roll all that.
Actually, this is not the rule, but I don't think that it makes any sense that it's not the rule. But
what?
I will say what I want to do, and then you can tell me if you think that it's BS.
Okay.
In order for you to get to Ossen, you have to make it around. You have to move past Fingers. It goes Yezi, Fingers, Ossen, Etheod. Fingers is going to get an attack of opportunity, and he's going to use it to grapple you before you can get to Ossen.
Okay, here. We can make this a thing because...
Okay, I see where you're going with it.
I'll raise you. I got Earthwalk. Can we rule of cool this that if he can do this, I get advantage on the strength save?
What does Earthwalk do?
Move across difficult terrain made of earth or stone without expending extra movement. We're on earth and stone. I would count this as difficult terrain, trying to get past his arms, grabbing my legs.
I feel like you want to talk about a reach. I feel like that's a reach. Rules, I will say this is a pretty even split that I see on Google, www.google.com, with people saying a grapple does not count as an opportunity attack, and people saying that it does. And
I have always heard that
sources.
a grapple counts as an action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well... Fine. You want advantage against a strength check? I'll give you advantage against a strength check. Okay, cool. So, the moment you get to where Fingers is, and since this is whatever, I'll still let you, if you can get past this, you still fully get to hit Ossen.
Okay.
Cool. So, as you, okay, cool. So, as you go, you get to where Fingers is. And he sees in your eyes just pure intent to kill. This is it.
Yeah.
Ossen's looking supremely goofed up. You can see him even as he was running towards Etheod. It wasn't his... There was no connection between his brain and his body. His body was just moving, and you could see anatomical inconsistencies, like things that have been sliced and should no longer continue to function were somehow just running on pure strength of will. And he sees you with just pure intent, and kind of takes a step back and looks at the entire situation as a whole. And he puts an arm out in front of you to hold you back. Full, hold my earrings. Like, he's fully just holding you back from the fight. And you're going to roll advantage strength check.
Yep.
Also, you're a rock, so I feel like it would be hard for him to be like, dang, she's kind of heavy. I mean, not like that. In the way that when you're a rock...
I get +0 to strength saving throws, so... Or is this going to be contested athletics?
I don't care. Yeah, what is it? Grapple? Grapple check. Whatever we did first, hopefully is right. It is an athletics check contested by the target strength athletics.
Okay, so...
Or dexterity acrobatics. So if you want to make an advantage dex check...
That's one better. All right, why not?
Okay, cool. It says check your whatever to see if you can do that. I don't freaking care. I feel like Yezi would use her...
Dex.
Like, she would... quintuple backflip out of
Yeah.
it. So cool. All right, so
I get a +5.
okay, Fingers gets a +0 to strength check. Is that right?
It's athletics.
Oh, he gets a +3. Excuse
Okay.
me. Well, cool.
18.
Okay. Fingers gets a 14.
Okay.
It did bounce around to some big numbers. Okay, cool. So this is what's happening. Fingers puts an arm. You feel him put an arm around your body,
Mm-hmm.
and this is not the time nor the place for it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is something that happened. Interesting. The context of, you know, the closeness between two individuals being, I feel like Yezi has, you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I do. And I've been thinking about that this
Yep.
whole time.
And so,
I think here's what's going to happen.
okay, tell me, dude, you're the DM now. What's gonna happen, bro?
She initially fully ignores that he's holding her back. I think that it doesn't even click in her brain really like any importance. She's just like, job has to get done. Like she has entered that state in her mind when she knows, like when she's partnered with Hale and she knows she has to kill her target, like there's no chance of saving it. I think that she has entered that part of her mind, like unlocked it and been like, okay, I have to be in this part now. Mm-hmm. And then she thinks about she takes another step closer and suddenly it clicks in her mind that Fingers has never touched her before, really. Besides tonight, like when he took her to go dance, she was so wrapped up in being surprised that, like, you know, okay, why are you cool with me all of a sudden? What is going on? Whatever. And this whole night she's been so confused and so wrapped up in everything. And I think that this final touch that she feels is so pleading, like so
desperate.
Yeah, so desperate that as she takes this another step forward, knowing this is the final blow, whatever, all of the instances of his touch rushes into her mind, and she suddenly is like, wait.
It's like ice water.
Yeah.
Like you were hot, and now all of a sudden you're like,
what do I actually care about?
Yeah.
I know that I don't want to kill, and I know who I spend most of my time thinking about. And she is going to take the rapier and adjust it so that she can put it around Ossen's throat and kind of just say, "It's over. You know it is. Let us walk." And takes like the most intense swallow where she's just like, okay.
Snap. Also, when Fingers was going to dance with you, he didn't touch you. You grabbed his hand and put it on your waist.
Yeah.
And Fingers had to dissociate to be okay with that. Like he fully, I think my description was, I'm no longer my body.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't really, his hand touched you, but it wasn't him.
Yeah.
This was full intention.
Yeah.
Like he wrapped his arm around your waist to pull you back. Mm-hmm. And you could feel when he did that, his few fingers dig into your dress, like to because you were fighting him. But you could feel also something warm against your body kind of seeping through your dress. Mm-hmm. And you could feel that there was strength in his grip when he went to pull you back, but it didn't last long. Mm-hmm. And you could feel also as it wasn't, as that kind of took place, you could feel his arm like weaken his grip. You could feel him kind of hold on all the more despite that. Like all of those experiences happening for you in that moment. So are you specifically making a grapple check, or do you have some intention, or do you want this to be like kind of extrajudicial?
I think it will be, I think if we can rule of cool it, she has, sword around the throat, full intention, she hit, so full intentions that she was gonna kill him.
She did hit. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I dig it.
So,
right.
If he is like, no, this isn't the end, and chooses to continue, she's gonna be like, I know who I care about more, and if it comes to this, then I will deal with him hating me forever.
Dang. Cool. Does that end your turn, Yezi?
Yeah, she's gonna, hold that reaction.
As you hold that reaction, in order for you to get close enough to Ossen to hit him, you had to functionally you would have had to move past where fingers could hold on to you.
Yeah.
But in order to get your rapier around him, either one of two things was going to have to happen. You were going to have to exit Fingers' grip, Fingers who would have had to hold his ground, or Fingers coming with you. And so as you pulled in that direction to reach your sword around his neck, you feel Fingers is attached to you while you step forward. And so it becomes, he's kind of, at first he's trying to pull you back. And now you are holding him up, basically.
Yeah.
And he is just, like, absent-mindedly sort of attached to you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not absent-minded. He could let go if he wanted to. But the intent is not to... It's to be there with you doing this. She's
gonna take her free hand that she has and just put it on top of his.
You can feel his hand, like, twitch a little bit when that happens. So that's Yezi's turn. I'm glad you were with me in that.
Yeah.
Moment. I was worried that you were going to be like, what the heck? She doesn't get to kill him. But I was just like, dude, Fingers would be like, no, we only had... Listen, I know I attacked first. But I went to a bad place. I came back up. It is Ossen's turn. And as all this was going on, before he could attack, look, it's cinematic, not the rules can eat my shorts. Ossen, who has 4 hit points.
Dude.
Bleeding from every conceivable location from which one could bleed. After Etheod's last strike, maybe Etheod thought that was it, and this was it for him. He's never been in a situation like this before. He doesn't know how much a human can fight. I mean, it's not a human. An elf can fight. Someone else can fight. How hard they can go. To Etheod, presumably, this man looks dead, or like he should be dead. Yeah. And yet, not only is he not, but he ran at Etheod. Yeah. So, to Etheod, who has no experience, he could be anything of any hit point total, of any degree of damaged. And Ossen was, as Yezi was running towards him, pulling this dagger in his hand up, and in the direction of Etheod, presumably to who knows what. And as he feels the rapier snake around his neck, you, Etheod, you were earlier moved far away. The farthest away that you could get from Ossen was in the corner of the room. And so that's where you are at this moment when Ossen is approaching you. As you get to him and snake the rapier around his neck and say what you say, the dagger in Ossen's hand stops an inch in front of Etheod's neck.
Etheod closes his eyes and takes a deep breath and kind of like lifts his head up just a little bit.
As you take your deep breath and your body moves slightly with that deep breath, you can feel your neck scraping against the tip of the dagger. And Ossen is going to take his free hand and slowly bring it up to wipe blood off of his mouth and say, "Suppose we've lost."
And now, Yezi is going to take that reaction, but with no intention to kill, purely to knock him out.
Oh, snap.
If she does a unarmored attack, like a, with the blunt of her weapon or whatever, like the handle, brings him to 0 hit points, he will be knocked unconscious, but he won't die. So he won't have to make death saving throws.
Oh, snap.
She hit with that previous hit. Can we either say that counts or that she rolls this last one with advantage?
She rolls the last one with advantage.
All right. So unarmored is strength plus proficiency bonus. So she gets a +4. 19 plus 4.
Holy crap.
And so it's a d4 plus 4. So no matter what, I knock him out.
The heck out. I don't think you have to roll unless you want to.
I mean,
1.
5.
Oh, is it 5?
1 plus 4.
I was like, how'd you roll 5 on a d4? Cool. So
it's my special.
How
D4.
does she do it? How does she whap him on the head?
I think he says
knock him out. Yeah.
Whap him on the head. I think he says that, and she doesn't say anything back, which I feel like is unusual for her, because she always has something on the tip of her tongue to say to whoever is around her, no matter who it is, And she kind of just like hears him say that. The hand that's on Finger's hand, she wants to like tighten her grip a little bit on it in a form of reassurance, because she's going to make a fast movement, but doesn't want him to know or to think that she's continuing what she had intended. And she like, swiftly spins the sword around in her hand and whips her hand back, and just the blunt, like the handle of the sword, straight into the side of this guy's head, like exactly where she was trained to know the soft spot of someone's skull. And hits him square right where she knows it is, and watches him just crumple to the ground.
Yeah, so while you do that, the pommel, I don't know if rapiers have a pommel, hilt, whatever. This is so important, the anatomy of sword. Hits him in the temple, and it just reverberates throughout the entire room. You roll a perception check as Yezi and Etheod.
All right. Double 6, dude. What the heck?
Really?
Okay, so Etheod gets a 7 and Yezi gets a 5.
Okay. You hear voices in the distance.
Okay.
Just murmur something. And there's this sickening crack right before that. And you watch as his body crumples to the ground. You're behind him. Etheod sees this man in front of him. I mean, Ethiod's eyes are closed. So
yeah.
The last thing he saw was this man in front of him, smiling, blood coming out of his mouth, the tip of a dagger pressed against his neck. And then all of a sudden, that noise. Does he open his eyes at all?
Yeah, when somebody falls, he's like, who?
Yeah. His eyes are wide, and he opens his eyes after the hit was made, and so it's not clear exactly what happens to Etheod. And he sees this guy in front of him, sort of shifted slightly to one side, holding eye contact with him, same smile on his face, and just crumples to his knees, and then falls to one side.
Okay. I think Etheod, his whole, like, eyes wide, just stares at this person and then stares at them on the ground, like, unmoving, unspeaking, and I think he's convinced that he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
It, like, couldn't be anything else. Like, just in his mind, he's dead.
Mm-hmm. Fingers and Yezi are... Fingers is embracing Yezi with one hand, and their hands are on... Her hand is on his.
Yeah.
He is going to pull his hand out. He's going to pull his hand out and grab onto her hand. Because hers was on his. And grab her by the hand. It's, like, painful even. Like, even for your rock hand.
Yeah.
He's, like... he's not have a whole lot to grab your hands with, but he's grabbing them, he's grabbing it extremely a lot.
Yeah.
And he's grabbing your fingers. So it's, like, not the part where you get grabbed a lot. And he is going to hold on to that grip and step in front of you and start walking towards Etheod. And he's with the intent to pull you with him. Do you come with him?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So he's pulling you, and it's extremely awkward. He has, like, one hand, and it's, like, dragged halfway in front of his body, and you're, like, backwards. It's extremely... No thought was put into this maneuver. Yeah. And you can feel in his hands, there's, like, wetness. You can imagine what that might be. And you can see as he makes his way in front of you that his other hand is on his side. And as he walks up towards Etheod, who is just lights on, no one home, staring, he's going to get to Etheod, and he's going to reach out to put his hand on Ethiod's upper body, shoulder or something. Is Etheod going to do anything about
Ethiod's going to flinch back. Because I feel like he hasn't left his flight mode. And he, like, snaps his eyes to Fingers, and, like, it takes a second for him to register that it's Fingers, and sees him, like, visibly ease. And I think Yezi sees this, and she's gonna quietly say, "He's not dead, I promise. He's not dead."
Fingers is gonna look at you like he didn't realize you were there. Like, even as he's holding on to you. He kind of just, like, turns his head towards you, and then he turns his head back towards Etheod, and he's gonna take his hand. When you flinch, he flinches back. Yeah. And he's like, just has his hand out, and he's gonna look for the first, like, you see his eyes focused on you. As his head turns, he looks back at you, and then he looks at his hand. And you don't make a insight check.
Okay, as Etheod?
Yeah.
21.
You can tell that he's not looking at the fact that it is got blood on it. You can tell that he's looking at it as something undesirable about him.
Okay.
You know, in a sort of self-deprecating, self-loathing kind of dimension.
Etheod's gonna reach out and, like, you know that grab that you make when, like, dudes do, like, a guy hug where they lock their thumbs together and pull somebody in, and so their, like, fists are in between their chests and, like, wrap an arm around. He, like, tries to do that to Fingers to give him a hug of, like, I'm so glad you're alive.
So he's gonna bro hug Fingers.
But intentions grab his hand.
So as your hand wraps around Fingers' hand, he's looking at you with sort of like you can feel his hand tense a lot, and he's looking at you with a sort of why are you doing this? Why would you do this? Look in his eyes, and still one arm across his body, holding Yezi's hand backwards, upside down. As you pull him into this bro hug type affair, he like, what is your intentionality behind the hug? Like, what is Etheod trying to communicate? That he's okay, or that
he's okay, but mostly that he's so he's so scared and he doesn't know what to do.
So you go in for this hug that's like, there's like a meekness to it, even though you talk a big game and you're extremely tall, you're a kid. And as you, even going for the bro hug is on theme for Etheod, who is loath to appear anything other than masculine, or in charge, in power. And as you kind of wrap your arm around Fingers and your hands are like in each other's chests, he can feel your fear through
I think that Etheod is like shaking.
Like through your frame. And he's going to, as you kind of like connect with each other, and you wrap your one arm around him, you hear him go, Are you
okay?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I be?
Well, and Yezi is gonna, the hand that, is being gripped by Fingers, she's going to like put her hand all the way into his so that she can turn him around to assess the damage, basically. Like, try to see where he's bleeding from the most. So
you're trying to like make it so there's like a part between him and Etheod so you can see like the front of his body. He is going, as you go to do that, he is going to squeeze your hand so tight and hold on to Etheod.
Okay.
What makes you think something's wrong?
Okay.
Why would something be wrong? Why would anything be wrong?
Fingers, I need you to take a deep breath. Okay? Everything is fine. And we're going to figure this out, but the first thing that we need to do is get out of here. I'm sure we made a lot of noise. Take this. And she's going to take out a potion of Pass Without Trace. And she's going to give one to Etheod, one to Fingers, and one to herself. She takes this, and it looks like there's nothing in it. Like, it just looks like an empty vial. And she opens it and just takes a deep inhale, and her eyes go completely white, like just all over white. And she becomes like slightly translucent, like almost like if you looked at her, if she didn't move, you would see right through her. And she's going to say, just open this and smell, and we are going to get out of here. And Pass Without a Trace adds a +10 to stealth checks.
You guys should leave me here.
That's absolutely not going to happen. That is not going to happen. Don't be an idiot. Do we have anywhere that we can go that maybe people don't know about? I don't know anywhere. I mean, I don't think that the Thieves Guild nor the Assassins Guild is safe at all, so any of their hideouts might not be a good idea.
Roll a perception check as Etheod.
5.
Your bell has been so rung by the day's events that it is a struggle for you to focus on where you should go, where you're supposed to go. You have to pull yourself out of what you are experiencing right now to focus on the future. And you can roll one as Yezi too.
Okay. 11. Or is it insight or perception? Which one was
Perception.
It? Okay, yeah, 11.
You can hear Yezi just like the sound of a drip hitting the floor. You've tried a couple more times to get Fingers to like inextricate himself from Etheod, and just like kind of casually like pulling his arm back, and he is not moving at all.
Fingers, we are not leaving you here. So, either you get it together right now, for the sake of us.
But I got you guys wrapped up in.
She's going to yank his arm to like make him make a strength check to see if he can resist being turned around.
I think he would make the strength check to pull Etheod around with him.
Okay, I guess we're all making strength checks, dude.
I mean, is Etheod trying to like?
I think that
help Yezi assess the situation.
I think that he'd be like, we need to get him out because we are getting him out, you know. And so I think that he now has eternal trust in Yezi because he was like, not only did you help so much and put yourself through this whole thing, and oh my god, you didn't kill him. You didn't kill him.
Yeah, despite basically the plan. Yeah, and your varied abilities. Cool. Fingers is gonna roll disadvantage strength check, which he sucks at anyway, so.
Well, Etheod gets a 6.
Okay.
Yezi, 18.
You're done with the psychological turmoil time.
Yeah.
Yezi is fully locked into this happened and now there's things we have to do.
Yeah.
And you pull your arm back with such force that you didn't realize Fingers was holding on to Etheod not with strength but with some other something.
Yeah.
And so as you pull his arm back, it's like laughable how easy it is to get him to like, and he kind of like, you're like kind of grabbing his shoulder and pulling him backwards. And when you do that, he like still has the hand on kind of Etheod's, like their hands are clasped, but in their chest. And so he kind of pulls his arm awkwardly to the side. And when you kind of pull his shoulder open, even his head kind of like lolls back slightly. And he's kind of like looking he's got like his face kind of pointed up to the ceiling and he's kind of looking at you like down his nose a little bit. I know generally that is associated with condescension, but you know that it's just because his head is where it ended up. Fingers could not condescend to a squirrel. And so he's kind of like looking down his nose at you and he goes, but I got you guys into this mess and
she's like laughs and takes her hands and grabs his face and like pointedly makes him look her dead in the eyes. She's like, you did not get me into anything. I took a contract and got myself in this and made a choice to help you instead of continue living a life of misery. And she like kind of looks down a second and takes a deep breath and like looks back at him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, I cannot let you. I can't let anything happen to you.
His eyes were unfocused when you said that,
Mm-hmm.
and they were just kind of looking around you. And when you say that, his eyes widen and they focus on you for a split second, and then they unfocus. And he's gonna take both of his hands and grab you, kind of like he moves them in between your hands. You said they were on his face?
Yeah.
You're gonna put them in between your hands and grab your shoulders and break this grip
Uh-huh.
that you have. And he pushes you back and kind of like forces you back. He takes a step towards you and goes, "But I put you in danger. I put him in danger," and he like gesticulates towards Etheod. And he says, "You all should. Maybe there's somewhere you could go where I couldn't." And you can roll a perception check as
right.
Fingers and Etheod, or as your characters.
Etheod gets a freaking 3. Yezi gets a 12.
He's getting a little bit loud.
Okay. Yezi is going to.
I didn't mean for this.
Stop.
I didn't mean
Stop.
for any.
Stop. Fingers. I am telling you right now, you did not put anyone in danger. None of this has to do with you. And sometimes you have to put yourself in danger. Make the choice to assume the risk of danger for the greater good of anything that you care about.
Greater good?
Fingers. This is not where we need to talk about this. There are people outside. And Ossen is the one that they care about. We need to leave now. And I'm not leaving without you, so either I'm going to be fighting off a lot more people, or you're coming with me.
He's going to, like, look down at Ossen, and he's kind of, like, cocks his head towards the side like he doesn't know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just kind of looking at him, and you can see that he's, like, his eyes are, like, he's, like, wincing and like, not really sure what Ossen has to do with any of this. Really.
Well, Yezi and Fingers are doing this conversation. Etheod is gonna look for a means of escape. Are there windows in this room at all, or is the only way to get out of this room that door?
There's a window.
Okay, how far up are we?
You're on the second floor.
So realistically, we could maybe try and.
Realistically, you could maybe try. Fingers is going to roll disadvantage for any acrobatics. He only gets +3 also, just for your information on that. But that is an option. That is a means of egress. The other option is the front door.
Yeah. With everyone covered in blood.
These are things that Etheod knows.
Right.
I want you to roll an advantage history check as Yezi. Actually, you know what? You know this. It's not going to be a history check. It's going to be whether or not it occurs to you. So we will do a performance check.
Advantage from
See
Yezi?
if your brain,
13.
Okay. You're an assassin.
Uh-huh.
You don't just walk around town to your marks.
Yeah.
You know, when you're on the prowl, you can't move about the city as normal, and expect not to have some eyebrows raised. I mean, eyebrows raised when you walk down the street, but an assassin on the job and an assassin weaving her way through the streets to the dented euphonium to drown her sorrows is a very different vibe.
Yeah.
So in the it is the practice of assassin and thief to use the tunnels with which Etheod would be familiar below the city for quick travel, tunnels that only the Thieves and Assassins Guilds know about, and tunnels which there just so happens to have been one dug just for this occasion in the basement of the mayor's house.
Okay.
You had no reason to use it earlier. You were a guest to the ball. Everyone knew why you were there. Clearly, Fingers, Etheod, Lucian, and Thalen did not use it because you saw them walk in the front door. For why? That would be evident to Yezi. If he was with Lucian and Thalen, he would have had some splaining to do as to why they were in the tunnels. But Etheod sees a window, and Yezi sees that in her eyes.
Okay, and to make it to the basement of the mayor's house, we would presumably have to get past those guards and walk through the party to get to the basement?
Yep. To Yezi's knowledge. You know that it's in the basement of the mayor's house. You have a general idea of the layout of the mayor's house. Roll a history check to see if you can remember exactly how to get there, if there's a direct shot from the second floor.
5.
Okay, cool. So that's going on. Fingers is kind of just like looking absent-mindedly at this body on the ground that you've brought to his attention. Etheod's looking for it, encountered a window, and Yezi is thinking deep thoughts about tunnels. Fingers is just going to keep staring at this guy.
Yezi, do you think that maybe we could just get out of this window and I don't know how to make a break for it somewhere. I don't really know anywhere. I know that there is a tunnel in the basement of this house that we could use to get out of here. The only thing is that we would have to get past a lot of people, and one of us is bleeding a lot.
He's not dead, right?
I made sure he wasn't.
Okay.
He didn't want me to, right?
Want what?
Me to kill him.
Did we do this?
No, I did this.
Fingers is like putting things together behind his eyes.
Yeah.
And he's just gonna kind of like stand there, and you could see before, like, he was angry, he was running, he was scary, he was terrified, every range of emotion was running through his body, and his face was flushed with all of that. And now that he's been standing for a while, and doing not a whole lot of anything other than freaking losing it, his face returned to its normal color, and now it is reasonably pale. And he's gonna kind of like sway a little bit on his feet.
Fingers, do you know about the tunnel in the mayor's house?
The one in the basement?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know how to get to it?
Yeah, I know how to get there.
Okay. You're going to go. You need to help me.
Oh, to the tunnel?
Yes.
Okay. I don't feel so good.
She's gonna, like, walk him away so that he's not looking at Ossen. And just hold on to his shoulders and just give him, like, a really big hug. And she's like on her tiptoes trying to wrap her whole arms around him and just be like, you didn't do anything wrong or bad. You did everything right. You're not this bad person as you seem to be convinced that you are. He's not dead. And he won't be. And I will try not to kill anyone anymore. But right now, I know that you care about Etheod and whether or not he is safe. And I need your help to do that. We need to keep him safe, right?
Yeah.
Right.
He's okay though, right?
He's okay. And he's going to be okay. As long as we get to the mayor's basement.
He's like dead weight in your arms,
Yeah.
pretty much. And he's gonna take his hands and put them on your shoulders and kind of pull you back.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just bleeding from wherever, just like slashes across his body, and punctures and all that good stuff. And when he pulls you away, you already had his blood on you, but you were holding him up, so much of him was touching you, that when he kind of pulls you away, you can see his eyes like get confused for a second, like he kind of like twitches an eyebrow, and he's gonna like push you away from him a little bit, not like push you away, but just move you away to kind of look at you. And he's gonna say, well, you look like last time.
What do you mean last time?
Roll an advantage history check.
Okay. 12.
Fingers is referring to, it is clear to you that he's referring to the one and only time he saw you kill someone. In the course of your business working together. And this strikes you as the second time you've seen Fingers look like this.
Okay. I wish that you'd forget that.
Yeah, I'd like that. Go ahead and roll perception for everybody.
Okay. Etheod got a 14, Yezi got a 14.
So yeah, he's just kind of like, he's like kind of looking, he's not looking at you anymore, he's kind of looking next to your head. He's like, starts kind of like nodding his head and kind of like playing with your sleeve absentmindedly. Like he's trying to remember the origin of this conversation. Like he's going over in his head, like, why am I standing over here? Why are we talking about this? Where are we? Like all of those things.
Fingers. We have to leave. Please. I think that Etheod is going to walk up behind him and kind of reach a hand out and touch his shoulder. And he's just going to be like, Fingers, I'm not sure what is going on, but I really agree with Yezi. I think that we need to leave, and I really want to.
You want to go?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, let's go then. And he's gonna like look up from the nothing he was looking at, and his eyes are focused now, but they're not, it doesn't look like Fingers.
Yeah.
It looks like some sort of lower brain function is taking over.
Yeah.
Like a like manually kickstarted survival instinct, as opposed to something that is unconscious. It was as he had to turn the key to get it to kick in. And so he is gonna kind of, with like redoubled strength and effort, kind of just like take a deep breath and force his body to focus on what the machine that you have punched the task into.
Yeah.
And he is gonna take a step forward, and all of a sudden you hear the sound of a doorknob turning.
Okay.
Click, click. You have one action with one character to do one thing.
One character?
Yeah.
All right. I cast Pass Without a Trace, so we have plus 10 to stealth checks.
Is this all happening within the Pass Without a Trace cinematic universe? Like, everyone is invisible, but you can all kind of see each other because you're all invisible?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say
I'm
that.
happy with
they're
that.
They're not invisible technically, but
they're really not that visible.
Yeah. And Yezi is gonna grab both of them. And what's the closest thing that she could kind of like hide up against, you know?
You could pull both of you. I'll say that this is a turn, so you have a movement speed of 30 feet, which is maybe generous. Also, you're pulling two people. Regardless, you could get behind a like, there is a curtain that would billow out with three people behind it, but it is something. Or you could be kind of next to a bookshelf that would give you sort of partial cover relative to the position of the door.
Okay. I'll do the bookshelf because I want to try to leave the room once the door is open.
Okay, cool.
So I yank him there and like press him up against a wall, essentially. Like yank both of their arms so that they're out of sight and like put my hands in front of, like arms in front of them, like get it together, you know?
Yeah. So when you go to yank fingers, he is going to go and you pull them into that spot just as the door opens. And you hear the middle of a conversation, them going, listen, it was loud, you know? All I'm saying is that it was okay, hey, sorry to interrupt. And he's gonna like kind of peek around the door. And he's gonna say, sir, give me Ossen's last name. He doesn't have one, but he would not be called by his first name.
Browler.
Browler? Listen, that extremely high elf. His father was, to many ancestors back, was a freaking bugbear. And it's like goofy last name. And it's stuck. The Browler family is well renowned for their insatiable appetite, as it were. And he's there. Friggin' sorry. He'd be like, sir, come on to Browler. Hello? And you see peek around the door two high elf faces. And they're gonna just kind of enter the room. They're gonna enter the room and say, I thought you said this was the room that he was in. I thought that's where I was. I thought I heard the noises coming from here. Maybe it's the one over. And they're gonna shut the door. They're gonna shut the door. And you hear them shut the door, and you hear them move to this other room. But it is across the hall.
Okay.
Why didn't they see us?
Look, the thing that I gave you earlier, it really works. This is our chance to leave because they've left their posts at the front. Let's go.
Where are you gonna go at the front door? Okay, cool.
And we're gonna sneak down the hallway.
You kind of like make a move to walk in that direction. Presumably, I imagine Etheod does too. And Fingers does not make a single move to move in that direction. But he does, as you go to walk away, he reaches out and grabs your arm.
Okay.
Like he's gonna, like, keep you there.
She looks back at him. Are we going to go?
He's just kind of, like, looking at you.
What?
Does Etheod stop as well?
Yeah, I think that he's just like, I'm just following. I have no idea where we're gonna go.
What's going on? And Fingers is, you guys are looking at me. He's grabbing onto Yezi's arm and he's like, "Why are you looking at me like that?"
I need to know that you're going to be with it.
With what? And then you hear the door
open
close,
again. Oh.
Close on the other side, and you hear someone say something like, "I told you she wasn't going to be there. I swear it came from this room. Maybe it was down the hole." I'm rolling these. I just want you to know. Maybe it's one down the hole. Okay, cool. So you hear them walk down the hall in the direction that is opposite of the direction that you walked in to get to this room. So they came to this room, didn't see anybody in it from a cursory glance, and didn't roll high enough to do anything about it. Went to the room across the hall, and then they went back up, like, oh, maybe it was the one in the good direction for you, in the wrong direction of where you need to go. They're walking. It's not far, though.
Yeah.
So there's that, and
Fingers. Remember, keeping Etheod safe. Leaving now Mare's basement.
Yeah, right. And he's gonna, like, walk in front of you guys.
Yeah.
And as he walks in front, he's grabbing your arm from behind, so his hand is kind of wrapped around your bicep.
Mm-hmm.
And so as he goes to walk forward, his hand kind of drops into your hand, and he pulls you forward, walking out the door. As you walk in that direction, is there anything you want to do, say anything as any character? Right now, Fingers is just pulling Yezi in, like, with him out the door.
Let's just be smart about this. And stay low.
He's gonna, like, squeeze your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we're gonna end this section.
Good God,
dang,
dude.
bro. Look at that.
Poor Fingers, dude.
Poor Fingers, dude. Fingers had a time.
Yeah.
I did not expect Fingers to have a time. Fingers told me he needed a break. Straight up, I was like, how would he react to all of this stuff? And I was just like, he would fully leave.
Yeah.
he would put up a freaking out to lunch sign on his forehead and just disappear.
Okay, well. Man, really put me through some intense emotional times, dude.
I'm sorry. Listen, the point is, it's not really, and I always thought it was absolutely tiresome when people said this. If you don't find it to be, you can chalk it up to me being the friggin' jackass. But when people would say things like, "It's not me, I'm not making the decisions, the characters are making these decisions," I'm like, "Oh yeah, very sure thing." I didn't write any of what we did. So this was purely, I was possessed by an extremely traumatized tiefling with no horns.
Yep.
And here we are.
Here we are.
Cool. I just want to apologize to everyone for the rough time we're all having together. And yeah.
All right.
Well, see you in the next episode of
That too.
Bye. Sheepishly.